It's overweight. Um, so, welcome everybody. Here we are. It's May 22. What do you think of that?
It's getting close.
I want to tell you that they call it the kiosk, that little screen going into the dining room where they show a lot of things and photos of the ranch and things happening. The Co-Creators Convergence is now coming soon, just listed today for the first time. That makes it feel very close for us.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Would somebody like to center, and then we can see what you think the priorities are?
Yeah, I will do that, and I will make it kind of quick so that Sheila can be on the call for as much as possible, so we can be as productive as possible. I'm feeling into that we just really need to hold each other in light and love. So for everybody but Sheila, if we can just close our eyes and settle into our seats. And I want to take us all into our room that we will be processing so much in just a few weeks. And we're in the center of the room, but we are sitting cross-legged, very close to the center altar. And our knees are touching each other's, and we are holding hands. And our eyes are closed there as well. And let's envision ourselves in that space, because in that space, not only are we calling in all the support of the universe for those days that we're together and our preparations, but also for each one of us individually, so that life can pulsate through us and with us, and really align with each of our own essence, and support us in every way possible. We call especially Sheila at this time, where what all is happening in her life, to just really, really embrace her with love and light, and hold her in that energy. And for each one of us as well, because as we prepare to be together in this space, we each want to be and need to be as whole and as ready as possible to hold the space for all of these other amazing souls that are going to be joining us. So we'll just take a few deep breaths here and settle into this space of this deep connection and support that we're getting from the universe. This is a mission of love, and this is a mission of truth and human evolution. May we all do our part in bringing this to be. Let's just all take a deep breath in together and out, and return to the space so that we can continue with our meeting.
Thank you, Leanne.
Love, truth, and service. Thank you. So, does anybody have a time limit on the backside?
Not me.
I do.
Okay. All right.
I will probably have to get off early, about 5:15 or 15 after. But
Okay.
I will be listening to the recording, because obviously I need to hear what everybody's input is about what all the processes will be categorized as.
And okay, real fine. And would anyone like to suggest the priority of things? I suggested some things in my recent email. I give you like a less than 2-minute update on just things related to the ranch connection and liaison. And it was suggested that maybe one want to spend a little bit of time, but let's prioritize that, concerning my email about truth with compassion and the beautiful comments that all of you made. Understanding that the full intent of my email was to make Leanne feel lesser than and make Sheila feel guilty. So we all have our things. We all got our things. But if it would feel good to talk about that and have a cap on it, hear from David or whatever, then let's do that. And Sheila, we will definitely go through the spreadsheet. Even if you have to get off, we'll go through that and give you feedback on categories, the color-coded categories. So who would like to suggest what our priorities are?
I think we should talk about the first things first, which is, kind of your email, because I think, for one thing, I didn't answer it. It was kind of too late by the time I read it. I felt like it was kind of too late. So that's my opinion. And then I think we should talk about the ranch stuff. And then unless you feel like that's not as important, it's really your call on that. You feel like
Others, as far as priorities?
I'm good with whatever. I've got your email open from the 20th, so we could talk about that communication, from you sharing your truth, and then maybe we can just go right down that email. I like to have a list, so to me it's a list.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Dina. Yeah.
Oh, I think since Sheila's has to pop off, I know she can listen, but I also think her input on certain things are so valuable, and we won't have that once she pops off. So maybe, Sheila, do you have something that you prefer to kind of dive into while you're on the call?
Well, obviously, I want to get started on the processes so I can get the sense of how everybody's, looking at everything. But I think then Bob's email can probably handle really quickly because a lot of it's been already addressed. So I'm fine either way.
Okay. Okay. Well, Leanne, when you mentioned going down that email as a list, where the hell is it? There it is. Going down that email as a list. You mean from the top of the email down, and then we'll talk about the.
If there's anything that needs addressed in the meeting, yes. Like the first thing is Nicole, if we want to offer her a scholarship.
Nicole scholarship. I've already put my vote in an email. I say yes, we should offer that, and also remind her that camping can reduce her on-site cost. So others' thoughts?
I say,
vote yes.
Yeah, let's throw it out to her.
Okay. Leanne or Dina, could you do that?
Yeah.
Super.
And the scholarship is just the registration is waived.
Correct.
Okay. Yep, I will reach out and ask her.
Okay. Rimrock Room, any additional thoughts? I heard Dina's in writing, and my opinion is that I don't think we need it this year. Not just
I
but
agree.
I agree.
Okay. Super. Yada, 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 yada. The other was information of stuff we have. So we want to talk about Donna Forrest's offer and her ideas about the tincture.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Simple.
I'm fully in support of both, and I'll bring some drums.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. So let me make a note about in our notes to people that we need to make sure that we invite them to bring drums. Actually, any instruments that they like to carry or enjoy carrying and contributing. Oh, I just set my notes on fire with my candle for Sheila.
No, don't do that.
No, all is well, all is well. Fire extinguisher nearby. Good. I love the tincture idea, and I would suggest that we offer to her that if she wants to contribute the bottles and that sort of thing, wonderful, but we'd also be happy to have the Convergence pay for any supplies that make that offer, and she can choose to accept it or bring it on her own.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable within limits. I mean, I wouldn't want $10 a bottle.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Those bottles are very inexpensive, and you can get them on Amazon, free shipping, if you do that sort of thing.
Okay. Right. Teresa's participation, Barbara, I think the Barbara thing is a larger conversation we still need to have. I left message for Teresa. I haven't heard back from her. I will try her again tonight, hoping for catching her on a weeknight. And we'll report back to you guys in writing, so it's not waiting for next week.
Okay.
Have you texted her or just left voice messages?
I left her a voicemail, but I'll text her and email her tonight. I mean, if she doesn't answer the phone tonight, I'll text her as well.
Yeah, some people,
That's a new thing now. You're right. So the Barbara idea is a larger discussion, I think. David Carshare, we can maybe we can resolve that question. Dina, did you see my message about who David is?
I did, thank you.
Okay, great. And the others of you hopefully saw that as well.
Yeah.
So I just have this feeling, maybe this is projection on my part from being a summer resident here, so I'd like you all to balance that, is that David has never come in and welcomed the group. We've usually just heard from the events department with the, rattlesnake, nothing in the toilet speech. And I just think it would be really great to have him join us for 15 minutes or something after he returns from his trip. Make the invitation, whether he accepts or not.
Yeah, and just any time it works for him.
Okay.
I think that'd be great.
Just feel it's a real relationship building. He is, and all the leadership here is very fully aware of the Convergence's presence over the years. The next one is about Keahi, and you may recall that I talked to her about this because Noelle had said that she had mentioned that she does shadow work and that sort of thing. I'm wondering whether, as loaded as we are, whether I should tell her that we're all set and we don't need her to help us out. I'm highly confident that even though we invited her to come for the whole Convergence, she won't. She just got back after 3 weeks out of the country 2 days ago. And, there ain't no way she's going to carve out to be with us the whole time. So any thoughts about that, or the need for having another person to come in and spend time with us on that subject?
Well, my only thought is that the shadow, it might be interesting to have a shadow focus, like completely on the shadow work. And maybe by this time next week, I would think that we'll have enough of the schedule in place that we can see if we can work her in. So if we can maybe table it for a week.
I like that.
Then we would know for sure.
Other thoughts?
I think too that when a group is going to bond like this, if she is not coming for the whole week, it would be better to have her sooner rather than later, because if she comes in like middle or towards the end, it might feel like a disconnect. Like, I don't know her. I don't feel as safe, because it happens, in groups. And I'm sure she's lovely, and people might just take a shine to her right away and be welcoming. And then sometimes there's that, if someone's like right at that point of integrating or healing, sometimes it can set them back a little bit. So just being aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So maybe day one, or maybe at the fire pit or something.
Any other thoughts?
Well, I was under the impression that if she was going to come, she would come for the whole event.
Mhm.
But maybe
I agree with Gina. I'm sorry, David, I didn't know you were talking.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that I was under the impression that if she was coming, she would come for the whole event, and not just to present her shadow work. You know. But I also think I agree with Leanne that probably we ought to wait a week and see how we can fit everything in and see where we're at in terms of the schedule.
Sure.
Before we say anything to her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm fine with all of that, and so let's hit the pause button on her and come back to it after we have a clearer idea on the schedule. And I also agree with you, Dina, that if it were to happen and not be for the full week, first off, I'd love to have her for the full week, but if that doesn't happen, that sooner than later in the week is an important thing. I agree. Okay, good. We're back to my note. Okay. Decoration. So that's about, I think the conclusion we got to recently was, I'm not remembering who, but that whoever, there were a couple of you that were going to lead on that, not for planning, but to go out to those that volunteered on SurveyMonkey just to let them know the time of their service would be after dinner Tuesday and for tear down if they're available after lunch on Sunday. But how would you then, it's also a question of organizing the conversation around decorations, which obviously either needs to be done by a subcommittee of people or starting, push it down, kick it down the road because we don't have time for it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's me and Sheila, I think, right, Sheila?
Yeah, it is us, but I understand. I don't remember signing up, but somehow I guess I did. But because it's not my forte either, but I'll be creative once the program's written.
Yeah, it's something that I'll share something quick with you guys because I know you have the question here, do we feel we need the portal? And I was thinking about that a little bit more today. I think it would be really interesting to keep the decorations fairly simple and just on the walls, if we had just, white paper. I know, Dina, you found some big contraption thingies that, or we can, the cheapest way possible, rolls of white paper, whatever, and just cover some of the walls. And as we come in for the opening, if we had like a spotlight that people just stood in front of and it would cast their shadow on the wall, and then us weavers could be tracing those. So everybody would, so they would become the decorations. It would just be, all 30, let's say 5 people, would all be these outlines on the wall. And we wouldn't necessarily need the portal for that. We just would need like a spotlight set up on the ground. And then it was really interesting. As I was getting ready for the call, I had the thought of a truth booth. And I started thinking, can we have like an area, maybe it's that, is there some place that people could walk in and they just speak their truth? And it can be their truth on anything. It could be their truth on how they feel about the presidency or their neighbor, whatever, just speak their truth. And it would need to be someplace private. So I was thinking maybe it could be that, that as you go to the exit, the outside, there's like that big room there that we could just put a big thing on the door if it's, available or not, kind of like a bathroom, is it vacant or not? And I don't know if somebody might have like an iPad that we could just have set up that you tap it on and you just see yourself speaking this truth. And just to let everybody know, the weavers are not going to sit there and listen to them all. We're not going to save them. We're not going to use them for anything. But just to have that action of seeing yourself speak truth. So people could go in there for some deeply personal things. And then when they leave, just flip the thing over, that it's vacant. And I'm sure we can come up with some cute little names to call it. And what's so cool is I'm like thinking this whole thing. And I'm like, because first I was thinking, can we make it in like the corner of the room? And it's like, no, that's too much work. And we've got that space. And so I Googled truth booth. And there's an installation in DC right now where
Of course.
yeah, where you can actually go inside and they're recording how people feel, mostly about politics. But I thought, oh my God, that's so funny. So it's already been thought of, but I think
Could it be a mirror? Could it be a mirror so people aren't being recorded?
yes, absolutely. And
Sounds like just a mirror would work.
yeah, I like that idea better. So we can just set that up, and maybe we can, so those two doors, we can maybe get colored paper and decorate that and call it the truth booth, and, so people know where that is. But, but then we would set it up in that space. So maybe we could even, find a mirror back in that storeroom, or, take one out of our spaces or
The
whatever.
restroom.
But
That's easy.
But other than that, I was thinking just keeping the decorations fairly simple, and then beyond this, Sheila and I can talk.
I like it.
Sheila, do you have anything? She might be in a moment of not being able to. I think this is really cool.
Actually, yeah, I don't have anything to add. I'm listening, and that sounds awesome.
Okay.
I think it's really cool. We can figure on the details and stuff later. Don't worry about the mirror. We can deal with that. The concern I have about the ramp room is that Talia and maybe some others that's their main access oftentimes because of the ramp, and we're in and out of there. But I'm thinking of two other places that's in the hallway. When you come down the steps, there's a room straight ahead that most of us have never gone in, and another one where we walk just before we walk in the room. They're both storage rooms, and maybe we can just vacate all the stuff out of them. And there's also, when you come down the steps, you probably never noticed it, if you do a hard right turn, 180, that used to be a phone booth. And it was a house phone. And they may have changed it into being a little kiosk of, you forgot your toothpaste kiosk or something. That's what it was last year. I'll check and see. That would be the perfect place for it.
Oh my
That would
gosh.
be awesome.
If we could actually make it a booth. Yeah, that would be awesome. Because the other thing I thought of too is that storeroom that you can get to inside the room, that one that goes all the way through.
Yes. Yep.
Maybe we could set up a little space in there where we can hang, because I know we do have some fabric. We could hang something to make it look more like boothy, and then it would be actually in the space. But yeah, I think that
yeah, either of those, because we could arrange to use a third of that room. We usually throw all our supplies back in there that we need to get to off and on or just whatever. But we could actually put them in the ramp room, because it's us coming and going.
Right.
The ramp room.
And Bob too. Karen and I will both be there on Saturday.
Oh.
Friday. We're getting in Friday or Saturday. So.
Okay.
So, let's see how that goes. Maybe we can work through a lot of that, and Sheila, maybe you wouldn't have to, be on as much call if it's not something you feel a calling to. Not that I want to volunteer Karen, but, but
you kind of just did.
But we'll both be there. So just count on I can be down there.
Nice.
Figuring all that stuff out.
I love this, and as you were talking, I was thinking, well, let's use the arch and do it in the room. But you're right, that would make a lot of extra work. And but we might be able to, if it's that door to the storage room that you're talking about, there may be a low ceiling in the phone booth. But if we use that storage room, it's possible we could use one half of the arch. Just do one coat of paint on it to whatever the throat chakra color is, and keep that very simple. But it's kind of like a doorway that you walk through. I don't know what the dimensions are. I'll check all that out.
Yeah, and it is. I believe it's light blue right now, which is the throat chakra.
I thought that was last year the heart chakra. What's the heart chakra? Green. What?
Yeah, I don't know why in my head I'm thinking we painted it blue.
We did. It is blue from last.
Yeah. So, but the throat chakra is light blue. So.
Oh. Well, less work. Good. I'll walk around and take a look at this space. I love this idea, and I think this is really a great idea. And getting a mirror is no problem, or if we want to do an iPad, or if the idea expands differently in the coming weeks, that's really cool.
It almost feels like a confessional.
But it does feel like that, and that will probably come up for some of us.
Do 3 I am worthies and
Yeah, exactly. I ain't going in that thing. It looks like a confessional. If we put red velvet, if we put the portal on it and then make it red velvet, even more so.
Yes, yes. We'll stay away from that.
That's a super idea.
Say 3 Hail Barbers.
That's really got some feet. I like that. I like that. I went in. I told my truth. Barbara came to me. Let me get back to the list here.
Okay, yeah, we're on announcing
Something's happening.
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. I just sent to all of you last year's final instruction letters. Both there was one that went out a week or two before and one that went out just a couple days before. Please don't spend a lot of time trying to edit it, but if you have any thoughts about what's missing, I'll clean out everything that was last year related. But what struck me when I sent it was they're repetitive, for one thing. We send a lot of information. We're going to send this information from the ranch, and some of it's repetitive to that. And so while people feel overwhelmed with a long welcome email and all this stuff we send them, they also want the information, or some want the information. So in that, the reason I bring it up now, and in that, we mentioned some possibilities of the day after, Sunday afternoon and the day after things. So I'll just leave it with, for any feedback you guys want to give to that.
Okay.
And then the program ideas were, let's deal with them next week or after we have more of a schedule. If we have a Thursday evening open, I just want to tell you that something's available on the ranch for people on an a la carte basis. So that brings us to.
Well, let me just say something about that list. Of course, we're going to add, if you can bring an instrument with you conveniently, bring like a drum, please bring what you can bring.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something else. What else did we say? Let's see.
We talked about an object for the altar. That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you all want to jump over to the Speaking Our Truth?
I'm just going to say one thing because I don't want to forget it. I got an email from Doug from Natural Awakenings.
Oh.
And one of his freebies was last week we were supposed to get our own email blast, and he forgot. And so he's very, very sorry. It was one of the freebie things, but he's going to send it out the 27th of May. So it's going out in a couple days.
Okay.
So that's it from that.
Okay, thank you.
So he sends it to everybody that is on his email list?
Yes. And it's basically our flyer. So it's all the information that we've been sharing, not just little things here or there. So
yeah. Kathy says their email blast, her experience, not just for herself personally, but when many of her clients experiences that the email blasts from Natural Awakenings Mile High are effective, and less so than the publication, than the physical publications. So,
well, it's going out on the 27th, which is Monday, a holiday. So let's just hold the space that it's well received.
Yeah.
That people see it.
Okay.
Good.
Can I just bring up something about Maxwell too? So last time when we talked, we said that we weren't encouraging people to come for one day. So I'm going to call him and let him know that. I mean that. And just encourage them to come next year. Or do you want me to hold off on that until you get in touch with Teresa and Mila? What about Mila too?
Well, I think all of that, in my mind, but I'm open to anything. In my mind, it's all kind of wrapped together with call to Teresa, and also how it unfolds in our conversations in the next week or so about Barbara, about a specific activity of Barbara. Because my answer about Maxwell and Mila would be if we were doing an event that related to a tribute to Barbara, rather than something that kind of spans or overlays through the whole week or something else, that I don't have an issue with inviting them to come just for that to participate in that, if it's not the only thing. So it's not like it's a performance, but for me, I'm not looking for a performance for 3 people, 2 of which haven't been at the event all week, as a tribute. But if it's a part of something that emerges that's larger than that, that feels comfortable to me. In other words, if it's that which is larger is what emerges from our circle.
So it sounds like I shouldn't call him yet.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say hold on it.
Okay.
So we can connect with Teresa, and then I'm sure it'll be next week before we get to talking about, maybe we can talk about it after Sheila's off. Talk about Barbara things.
What's happening with Mila? Did she say that she would not be there? She could just come for one day or something like
Correct. Not one day, but she could come if they were doing their activity.
that?
Maybe.
One event. Okay.
Yep. Okay. No, Sheila's going to need to leave soon. So if we'd like to talk about my email and about promotion and that sort of thing, I have nothing to add to it. I really, really appreciate those that commented in email about it, and I welcome anything that you might have to say, David. And I would like us to get to the questions that you posed also, Leanne, about what do each of us perceive as being, quote, success. And I think that's can be an important part of our discussion and understanding, individually and collectively. So, David, do you have anything you'd like to share?
I wanted to just thank you for sending that, having the courage to send it, because I think it's really important for us to emulate that sort of courage, and it's always a risk when you send something out like that. How are people going to receive this? And I know you meant it you were sending it from your heart. I really appreciated that. I didn't know that you were spending so much time doing that. I mean, doing what's the word for it? The finding people to come. But I appreciate you doing that. I really do. I just don't know that many people to be able to invite. I've invited a few people, but people just have other things going on. So I guess the only thing that I would say that would be like something that maybe we could all learn from, and I mean, there's a lot of things to learn from in this, but one of the things is, don't wait until you're overwhelmed before you raise the flag. And if you need help, please reach out for help. And don't be thinking that you have to do it all yourself, or don't wait until you're overwhelmed or you're frustrated or feel like it's all on your shoulders, whatever it is. And I don't mean that as a judgment. That's for me to hear too, because I tend to do the same thing. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. But I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Sheila, since you might have to go soon, is there anything more you'd like to share, supplement, reflections?
No, I think I had my say on the issue, and I just think it's a really good practice to be able to do that. And I appreciate the experience of our group, the way we interact.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I already said all that, so I haven't had much to contribute so far. And unfortunately, I won't be on the phone much longer, but I was hoping we could do at least a couple processes while I'm still here.
Sheila, do you, let me understand what that last part is. would you like us to jump over and talk about things on the schedule now before you have to leave?
Yeah, if there's any way, I don't know how close we are to the end of the list because I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry.
Of course.
I'm in motion on a way to an event that I'm leading. So I'm just able to mostly listen
Yeah, I think
on the
that
phone.
I would love it if Sheila doesn't have to listen to the recording. Like I think that would be great if we can jump over and hopefully get through it all so that she doesn't have to jump back in, and listen.
I'm fine with that. So what would be the best way, if everybody else is okay with that, Sheila, what would be the best way for us to just walk through the schedule and talk about?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think the best thing would be just open the spreadsheet, skip over the opening because we haven't filled that in, and just start with the very first process. And since I don't have it in front of me, I'm going to rely on you to describe it for me.
That's
There it is.
And
there we go.
If you got it in front of you guys, that's great. And if not, I've got the screen share.
Which Sheila can't watch because she's driving.
Sure.
Yes. So we'll just say what it is.
So Sheila, go ahead.
so if we can just start with the first process and just have everybody kind of take a quick look at it and discuss, is it which category it belongs to? And if there's more detail that needs to be worked out.
Okay. So the first one is T for truth. That's the one with the cups and pairing off and that sort of thing. And speaking of truth around a subject that would be one of the essential truths in that article. You have it categorized as group interaction, which I agree with, Sheila.
Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Are you looking for Sheila to just confirm
There
our
was a few of them.
on the categories?
No, actually the ones that I already colored in, I kind of felt comfortable with.
Okay.
It's the first one that's not colored in that I would say go to.
Okay. That's the third one
Yeah.
in order, and it's about honoring Barbara. There were a couple of suggestions there by Shelley and Donna and Noelle, and there ain't much there yet. I really feel like that's one we need to spend time on.
And that's one we need to spend more time on later. I wouldn't worry about that one either. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I had to choose a category, I would probably say presentation because it's probably just going to become
That
that.
makes sense.
One thing about honoring Barbara is that Barbara was a futurist. And, I wouldn't want us to, get into like talking about stories. I mean, stories are interesting about her, but I think she would want us to talk about the future in relation, in relation to what she has said and done.
Well, why don't we earmark some time next week we can all be thinking about Barbara's piece and talk about, because I know we have the opening and the closing and Barbara's piece are the main things we need to
Right. And
figure out.
some evenings will fall into place a little more within the next week also.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. So Dina, the next one that's not right here, not categorized yet.
Yes, Dina's timeline work.
Yep.
That timeline work is going to be very meditative. It's going to be like sort of like a hypnosis session. So it's all inner work. So eyes closed, comfy, cozy, and going in to talk to your inner child, and then kind of seeing in the future now that I found my voice, now that, things have shifted, what it's going to look like, how it's going to show up in my life a year from now or 5 years from now.
Okay, great. Sheila, what I'm going to do, because I can't seem to do the color thing fast enough, I'm just going to write some in bold print red letters for you to redo. Okay, so I just put meditative in that column.
That sounds great. That's fantastic.
Okay, Leanne, next one that's white is Leanne.
Right.
Meta.
Yeah. So mine is it's both meditative and group interaction. So it could really fall under either of those two categories because we are all interacting together, but it is eyes closed, envisioning. So we're basically, you've experienced a little bit of it. It's a meditative process where we're speaking and building it ourselves. So I guess if I had, I guess I would choose meditative, the blue.
Okay. Okay, the next one is, somebody have that while I'm typing?
Yeah, Elsie's questions from my own true self. Sitting in a circle and interacting with a piece of poetry about questions, journaling, sharing. So I would say that's group interaction. Green.
Agree. Elsie, okay.
The next one is Allie, the profile silhouette, which sounds like with Leanne's great idea, we could do that. Allie is definitely not coming. She did text me this morning to confirm. But I think that would be something that, yeah, would definitely go in with what Leanne was talking about. And what would you call that, Leanne? That silhouette?
If we were going to have people write in their silhouettes that we capture at the opening, I would say that could be none of the above.
Well, it's not taking, is it taking extra time?
It's
not like we're not going to explain it, or it's
no,
not
I wasn't really connecting the two, so I'd have to think about that. I was just thinking that we would get everybody's in nice bold marker their outlines. If we're going to have them do something then with the outlines, I'd have to think about that.
Is that the one that says drawing various?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that one might actually go away because the person isn't going to be here that proposed it.
Okay.
Yeah, moving right along.
Throat chakra meditation is a meditation. Just eyes closed.
Definitely. But sometimes there's followed by talk, and I don't know if the meditation's short and the discussion's long, then it'd be more interactive. But I don't, like I'm not looking at it, but that's kind of the distinction I was trying to figure out sometimes is if both are going on, which one is sort of most.
Right.
And Dana, you would say meditative.
Definitely meditation, yeah.
Okay, so the next one is Teresa Grace, her very long period of time of us breathing, which my guess on that would be meditative because I know we're going to talk about it afterwards, but the bulk of the time, 50 minutes or whatever,
yeah,
we're going to be breathing. So I would say meditative.
Yeah, there would be, because there may be group interaction after many of these meditations.
Right.
Okay, Weaver, Truth. Karen offered a process to hang up paper collective. How do you define the truth? Oh, by the way, Karen, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm on. I just hopped on about 2 minutes ago. So
Okay,
I'm here.
good.
I'm just getting a spot to sit still.
Gotcha. Sorry, guys. I forgot to mention when I was offline 15 minutes ago, she said she was landing and be with us soon. So, okay. Karen, we're going through the spreadsheet as quickly as possible because Sheila has to drop off and looking at whether things are a group process or are they meditative so that she can categorize them. And then by the weekend, probably will lay out the schedule that we know it so far chronologically. So we'll be seeing where the gaps are and that sort of thing. So the one that we're on right now is Karen's Truth, Defining Seeing Voice.
Well, the different themes are movement, meditative, group interaction, levity or fun, presentation, music, on your own time. So those are our options to pick from.
Karen, are you connected enough to be able to give your thought?
Sort of.
How about if we get back to this?
Yeah,
Karen?
let's do that.
No, it's okay. I have a moment. So that would be, there's going to be, what I was thinking, and I thought there was another one that kind of was similar to this, or was that the one that was Kat's daughter? But I thought that this would be something where like we're kind of working individually at first. And there'd always be like a group explanation, and then we go out with our, shadow papers, you would need a partner to like draw your shadow with you. What do you guys think? Should we do a partner work? Should we do it in fours and then break off alone?
So Karen, early in the call, we were talking about, as part of the opening, capturing everybody's outline on the wall, just having a spotlight and capturing that. So we would already have everybody's outline, and so they could just go up to their outline and write in whatever. It is very similar to an earlier one. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, okay, perfect. So then that piece is already done. So then when they do that, then they're going on their own to write in there.
Okay, so but then there's more, right? Then there's a skit.
Not remembering the skit in this moment.
Okay.
I have to think about it.
And maybe that was something different. Seeing Truth, Karen thought about creating a skit that looked different depending on where you are sitting in the room. Maybe we can do a skit with a mystery, but not triggering. Oh yeah, this is a conversation we were having.
So that was like if there was a skit happening in the room, like 6 or 7 volunteers, and then people were watching it from different perspectives, and then coming together and talking about what they saw and how each person saw something, but it would be different because of the perspective that they were seeing it from. So
right.
Separate from.
So those are two separate things. So maybe Bob, make a note to separate those two.
Okay.
This particular shadow, if we're capturing, we're capturing it, and then it's something that stays up. We hadn't really made a decision how we wanted to, like, at the end, offer it, or, we keep hanging them up. But, it feels like there could be various parts of the weekend that you go up and add to your own shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's the initial introduction of it and doing it, and then it's open for the weekend to go in and add things to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's sounding a little redundant to the Truth booth, because you're writing it, not speaking it, but
which Karen doesn't know about because she wasn't
Karen
on the
doesn't
call
know
yet.
about, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, catch the first 15 minutes of the call. It's great.
If we may need to combine something, or...
How about for the moment, so we can keep moving, I'll put that first part as meditative. The second part is a group process, the skit thing or whatever might happen. And then we need to come back to refine this more, decide whether it connects in with other things to combine up or whatever, but at least we've got those words next to it for Sheila, for your planning purposes. Does that work for everybody for the moment?
Yep.
Okay. Leanne and Dina, immersive work.
Yeah, that's definitely, the first part of it is, it's not meditative, it's inner work, but I think the best thing would be to call it a group interaction, because ultimately it's an interaction.
Gotcha.
There's two different parts, but.
Yep, got it.
And Dina and I will be renaming that. We don't want to call that immersive work, so we'll figure that one out.
Right. And is that the one that Kathy Ingham that we talked about yesterday might fold into?
Yes.
Okay.
Kathy would be perfect to plug in there with the tapping.
Right. Okay. I'm going to write that in. Go ahead and go to the next one if you can, and I'm going to type this in.
So Noelle's deep listening. If you want to speak your truth, you need to know what is in your heart. A meditation walk, and then share. So I guess meditative.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Meditative.
Okay.
The next one's Noelle's speaking truth with compassion. This is the restorative justice that we were talking about last night.
Mhm.
And so it's pairing folks up, and each can share their truth with an offender. This is actually really similar to what Dina and I are doing, because the person's able to speak something, but the other person's not going to respond. They're just going to be there for them and hold the space. So, but just reading through that, I would call that group interaction.
Okay, I'm going to put here, okay, combo with, and okay. Good.
Yeah, like it's similar, but I wouldn't want to blend them together.
You wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't want what Dean and I are doing to start off with that video.
Okay. So you're saying group process?
I think it's a group process, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, wunderbar.
Noelle, the voice of truth by CCC, group co-creation assignment.
Oh, that's the lyrics thing. That's absolutely. Oops.
Okay.
Group, okay.
That music?
Yes. Potentially.
I mean, a form of music. We won't call it music.
No, we'll call it creation.
I can see right now we need more levity and fun. We're not using that color very often.
That's true. This is true.
The next one is Noelle giving voice to the truth of who we really are. This would either be an interview with Michael or viewing a newly released hour interview with NDE Experience.
Yeah, it's only 15 minutes. I'm going to change that right now. It's actually 13 minutes. Got it.
I do want to add one thing. When I was listening to that and looking at it, and I went and looked up Eben Alexander, if the goal is to be like an intro to woo-woo, that's my fancy word for it, the goal is basically an introduction to these more advanced concepts a little bit and the resonant field. I don't think the Eben Alexander, I mean, it's just one aspect of all of the the spiritual stuff, but it's not like hitting a lot of different issues. It's really hitting one. So I'm thinking if Michael's going to hit several issues in a short amount of time, there would be more bang for the buck if it's going to serve as an intro.
So I think this one needs more discussion. It's feeling like to me as to how it fits, our understanding of it, what we want to do with it and how it fits in. Yeah.
I'm not remembering this one at all.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I thought she talked about this the first time, like a week ago. So
she may have. I mean, if we do it, it should be presentation because it won't be interactive.
Who is Michael Recchia?
Sure.
Recchia. Who is Recchia? Who is Michael?
Michael's the Joseph Communication.
Oh.
Yeah, we had him 2 years ago. Remember, he was on the screen 2 years ago on Zoom.
That's Michael. Okay.
Yeah.
The English guy.
Power of play. Have we finally gotten to one that's levity?
Yeah, power of play. Make that levity.
Yay.
See if I know how to spell levity. Levity.
Oh no, do we really have to play?
So Donna Forrest tincture is next. So I guess that would be interaction. unless
Yeah.
we can dance as we're doing it, and then it could be
Definitely.
It sounds interactive, activity.
yeah. Community circle, that would be interaction.
Right.
Dawn's work that he was talking about last night with the cell phone, I don't know what that would be. I don't know how interactive it's going to be.
Yeah, it
It's part,
sounds like
it's like
a student
presentation.
kind of thing.
It's like, yeah, presentation, and then, but then we were saying like we would break out so we could all be used doing it on each other.
That's interactive.
So
Okay.
it's like primary is first presentation and then interactive.
Yeah, and I think that one requires a little more conversation on our part too, because for me, at least, it was it felt like we were suggesting to him, with his inexperience of being a first timer, how we might assure that it's a group process and that it might be in two different times. It might span, something earlier in the week and later in the week as well, and or it might be something that is a group activity at one point, and then when we have our afternoon and evening where people can have quote private sessions, people can sign up for more specific stuff with him also. So it felt like we needed to have some more time with that one.
Okay.
I will
Oops.
say that when I was listening to it, I got the feeling that we were trying to sell him on doing a lot of one-on-one separate from the group interaction, and I was kind of disappointed if it goes in that direction, because I'd like to see more of the group benefit with the group present if possible.
Yeah, I think if we give him enough time, he'll be able to do the work with the group.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I because I won't have time, I'm sure, to get one-on-one time with them. So I would like him to do as much with the group. But I agree.
And when I spoke with him, he's definitely like open to that suggestion, because he was just, it's. I mean, he's definitely worked with groups before, but like this whole group, it was just new, and he was just like, I'll just have Kathy tell me what to do, and I just shared we try to do as much group interactive as possible. So I mean, I feel he's very open to that, and even when he does work with someone, it's like a 1 minute. It can be done in like 1 minute, 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now there's something we can fit in the schedule. Something that takes 1 minute. Okay, good.
So the
I get
next
that.
one is Kathy Ingram, and the tapping that she spoke about, that could actually be integrated with Dina and my, whatever we're going to call it, our two-part process. So Kathy's tapping can move over there, but she also had that idea of singing the little songs.
Oh, right.
So if we could make another column for her songs, which, yay, we get to use Blue for music. And I was actually thinking that it might be nice for us if we could tell her, have half a dozen of those ready to go, because if we're feeling like things are really, really heavy, when we come back from a break, we can just say, Kathy, lead us in a little song and kind of plug those in. So
Like that idea.
Good idea.
Yeah. It's music, it's levity, and it's group. Okay, good. So, Sheila, I just made a note in that column for you to add another column so I don't screw up with the Excel spreadsheet.
That's fine. Yeah, the notes are great.
Okay.
The notes don't know exactly where you guys are going. I'm going to have to jump off now, but
Okay.
I'm really glad that we're going to have the energy shift, as spread and sprinkle throughout all of it.
Super.
good, and we're almost done at the end of the list anyways, but Sheila, just know we're holding you.
Thanks, guys. Love you all.
Okay.
So I'll
Love you,
see you
Sheila.
at the same time next Wednesday. Right?
Sounds good.
Okay, bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so Ashley is group process, and we said this is something we would be doing naturally anyway, but she would be a facilitator of it.
Yeah, is this listed twice, or did we have another community circle?
Oh no, you're right. It yeah, three columns ago. You're right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
So we'll put this.
AE has less
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
description.
Okay. Duplicate column. What's that column number? The other one?
AE and AH.
Thank you. AE.
you sunk my battleship. Sorry. My humor.
Process.
I rolled my
Takes me
eyes like
back.
my kids always do.
I remember.
And
It's interesting to me that she says, depending on the size of the group, I would be interested in creating. So does that mean, is there too many people that she would not be interested in doing that? Or if there's not enough people?
Who is that?
That was Ashley on the community group or community circle.
I feel like that was like her very initial, right, thoughts, I think, that she just like wasn't really sure at all what the size was that she'd be working with.
Gotcha.
But
yeah.
I felt, when we spoke, that she was definitely just open to leading, a movement. And we can, I can certainly double check with her as well.
Okay, good.
So the next one is Nahid talking about it's listed as meditation, but it's full expression mainly as sounds and movements, not words. So can that be movement?
It sounds like movement.
Meditative movement.
Okay, got it.
Okay, the next one, Kathy Mason's her and Darla's authentic storytelling, which is definitely group interaction, right? Because we were going to break out into.
It
Yep.
sounds like presentation too, if she has
Right. She has a
PowerPoint and, but yeah, group.
And then the last one is the throat chakra chants from Donna Forrest, which is definitely music.
Is
You know,
that separate than her offer about the models? Oh yeah, I guess it is. Yeah. Okay. That's really not a process. That's okay.
And being that we don't have any music, we've always had, anyway, since I've been coming, we have music. Maybe all of us should be thinking of music, that we could be utilizing.
Offer.
So
should I be putting chant group process or chant meditation?
I think it's
Music.
I think it's music.
Okay, thanks. Yes, thank you for your most recent suggestion for ideas of music and sounds. And we have, we always have the music of the plants available. There are a couple of songs that I've made some notes over the course of the last 6 months. So yeah, that would be helpful. And we can always grab things quickly as we need them also.
Yeah, because it might be nice just like when we're coming in the morning or after lunch or a break to have some music playing as people are, coming in, just to kind of set the tone.
Definitely.
Right. And yeah, depending on levity and stuff, I hope that I can find some time to. We had this idea of a Barbara Marx Hubbard giggle reel, and something, and there might be a time coming back from a break when that's the appropriate thing because of what we're going into. So,
Bob, do you still have access to that big year-long program with Humanities Team? I forget the name of it.
I don't know.
Because I do. So, I mean, I would think I still have access to it. I took it. So,
see, we dropped out. We formally
dropped out. So,
we dropped out and stopped paying. So you may
they might have taken it out of your grasp. But, and I mean, I've not tried to log in. I would think it's still available, but.
Well, if you get a moment, have time to see if you have access, that might be something.
Okay.
I just need to think about that a little bit more. But yeah, that'd be great for all of us to give some thoughts about some songs.
I saw one the other day that was posted by Nina Patrick that was really interesting. It was all of the leaders of the world, including Trump, singing Imagine. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I actually posted that too.
Yeah.
That'd be great to show that.
Too, man. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Where can I find that?
It's on my Facebook page.
Okay.
And I don't post that much, so you won't have to scroll down too far.
Okay. Cool. I just want to make sure this spreadsheet that I just did kept everything. Yay, it did. Good. Oh, she's inside. Okay. Oh, well, that was good. That we got a lot done there.
Yeah. So, Karen, we were starting to talk about, talk more about Bob's confession of truth.
Okay.
On how he was feeling. So,
comes out again.
Yeah, that's going to keep coming
And
up.
spin off of that is we're going to have a confession booth at the Convergence. So I know you'll love it.
Confessional. You're going to trigger millions of people with the confessional.
It's going to be a truth booth, and no one's going to be in there. You're just going to go in there and speak your truth.
I really like that idea. Are we really going to do this?
Yeah. Bob's going to check it out to figure out the best place to put it.
We'll have a mirror in there that people can look in.
Yeah, there'll be a mirror so you can see yourself speaking your truth, And
you can even tell yourself, "Forgive me, Dina, for I have not spoke my truth."
It's going to be a one-way mirror.
For oh my God, that's going to trigger so many people.
Karen, it's going to be a one-way mirror, and we're going to be broadcasting it directly to Barbara DeAngelis.
I want lots of lightness in there, like we don't have to go hippie, like flower and smiles and have a big vase of flowers in there. Oh.
Yeah, we'll decorate the door. We'll decorate the door, and it's going to be really, really fun. It's not going to be heavy at all.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, you guys.
It is. So meanwhile, back at the current events.
Speaking of the truth, I've been kind of holding back on something that I've been meaning to say, and that is that I had a process that was never included in this list. I think it must have just got dropped somehow.
Wow.
Yeah, you shared it?
Yeah, I shared it with you guys.
Because David was like you were the first one.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that we need another process. So I wasn't going to say anything just because we don't need any more processes, but just have to share that because it's.
No, that needs to get.
Well, I think it's important, to be looked at and to just bring. I need a reminder of what the process was, and then I'll remember. But
this was based on the book, the Shadow Effect.
That's right.
Questions, and I sent out
one of the first ones.
By the way, I sent out the questions. I haven't got any responses on these questions.
Yeah, you sent out the form. So, Bob, can you maybe add that just on Excel doc?
Will do.
But I'm totally open to not doing that.
Well, I mean, we're really not. I don't think we're doing anything really that looks at that shadow. So I think that it's needed.
I do too.
And a lot
Yeah,
of the things that we're doing, like the things that I put out there are suggestions. So one of them, none of them, all of them, it doesn't matter. I have no, it's whatever works into the schedule and whatever works into the rhythm and the,
Yeah, I think we have way too much right now.
Yeah. And a lot of things are
Well, I like-
similar.
Yeah, I think there's things that could be combined, and I like that we have lots of backups, like, always, like, if we need to throw anything in. Yeah, David, I think that was a really important one. So I would want to really look at that to add it in.
I agree and think that that it's important and should be brought to the daylight. And I feel we do have a lot. And we also really haven't shifted it into, are there some of these that we might need to ask the person to make it one of those sessions in the open time?
Breakout.
And sign up for. They can give a clear explanation of what it's about, and then they can do sessions, which may include, one person or maybe 10, 15 people that want to do that. So that's that and the combining, which has already started happening, are the evolution of making it all fit into a 5-pound bag. So thank you.
So Karen, to kind of fill you in, we started down the list of the email that Bob had sent with his true confession, and we are kind of need to circle back around to that to see if there's anything else that anyone wants to share or add to or speak their own truth.
So Karen, if you listen to the first maybe 20 minutes of the audio, you'll catch up with the decisions that we made on some of the specific things, like Donna's tincture and a couple of the things, Barbara and stuff like that. So we can stay focused on this for the remainder of the time.
Bob, are you complete as far as that whole issue of regarding your email? I mean, how are you feeling about that whole situation?
Thanks for asking. How I'm feeling is that I'm feeling complete in stating what I needed to state, what I was feeling at the time. A couple more things. One is that it can be a reoccurring theme for me. And so I appreciate the comment. I think it was you, David, that made the comment earlier about not waiting or not letting things build up before bringing it forward. Whether that's asking for help or whether it's just sharing how I or one is feeling at the time. And so that continues to be a thing for me that I need processing with and need to hold with. And maybe this year's convergence will be my breakthrough moment for that. The second part is that, we're going to make that note. The second part is that there are times when others of you, let me think about this. Okay, yeah, for all 5 of you, it's probably isn't the case. But the case in this mobile turtle hut of consciousness is there's both me and then there's the element of Noelle and our relationship and our work for the convergence. And that sometimes gets all mixed together. So, and Noelle and I have talked about this. Is this my resentment for myself, or is this resentment for her that I'm transmitting for her, or is it her resentment that I'm taking onto myself that really doesn't belong to me, whether I voice it to the rest of you or not? And so there's more to this than just was on that paper. I think I mentioned Noelle's name, but there's more to this for me to process that has to do with the relationship as well. And then there's that relationship with each of us to the convergence, the existence of the convergence community. And then there's our combined relationship with the convergence community and all that means. And to to the point of your a number of people, saying what other things they did to promote and that sort of thing, and what is success and what's the right number and all that, is that I have we live it all the time. I mean, our personal quote business card, our personal calling card, the back side of it is the Convergence and the Facebook page and the website. And so it just, and that's not either bragging or complaining or comparing. It just is. And so my peace with that is always, there's always the opportunity for me to have peace with that. And 99.5% of the time, there's complete peace with it. It's a joyful opportunity when we're interacting with people and kind of look at each other, or either one of us separately will go, I got to tell this person about the Convergence. Yeah. And so it's a very natural thing. Oh, and by the way, here's our card. And it's got the Facebook page on it. So, so there's that. And that also is a work in progress, is always a work in progress. And the last thing I would say is, answering you, David, is that the question that you brought up, Leanne, about, and maybe you did alluded to it also, Dina, about what's success and how many is enough. Where I have always stood on that since the very first year is, I love having in this range of 35 or so. I was uneasy the year that we had 56 people for Galaxy, or for Galactic. And I had to process, and maybe I'm not done processing the fact that for me, first off, there was some judgment in that year by me of some of the people who were there just because of the lights and Richard and yada, yada, yada. And there were a couple of people that actually didn't even participate in most of the processes. And so I realized I had to cope with being judgmental about that. But what I love is the intimacy of having 35 or so people, because I really feel like, whether you call it selfish or not, selfishly for me, I feel like I have more of an opportunity to get to know more people and who they are, what their processes are, and support them. And so, so I actually love being in that sweet spot for me of 35 to 40 people. And then lastly is related to that is the subject of the money and paying the bills. And so I really appreciate, Leanne, Dina, what you said about the numbers. And yeah, we have to be in real world in some way, but we also, but to me, I always know that I really truly feel that it's always going to be the right number, and it's going to be the right people. So other than that, I have no other additional things to say, David.
Well, thanks, Bob. That you said a lot. There was a lot there.
Definitely.
Thank you.
As you were talking, you're right. Like this is your wheelhouse, as being the mouthpiece for the Convergence, because you guys are always, you gravitate to groups of people that are like-minded. That's where you spend all of your time, not just like, part of it. Sorry, I don't know who's trying to call me. It's not like just part of the time, like, for the most part, that's what you guys gravitate to. So that promotion is your wheelhouse. And I can, I'm not experiencing it, but I can relate to that. Sometimes that feels like you can't get away from it either. Like you don't get a break from it. And then, right. You and Noelle are both doing it. So it's like always right there. Mm-hmm. So I don't have anything to say to it other than I really relate to it. And I'm sensitive to the fact that that's your experience. And sure. It's not ours, because that's not, what we're doing. So it's interesting, because it never goes away for you. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just holding that.
Thanks.
For you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say too, the success, success isn't, you can look at it as a number, like 35 is successful, but if we have 32, that's success. However, whoever, like you said, Bob, success for me is the people who come are just so excited to be there, and they go away so excited to be just, I don't know, that we changed the world. That's success.
Yeah, to me, I agree, David. To me, last year, Dean is a perfect example of what success was.
Yeah.
Just watching it, how, it, like watching her take it all in, and by the end of it,
the ugly cry at the end.
yes, that's success.
That's success.
That's what we're working for.
Success.
When you have snot running down your face.
Then we're good.
Score.
Girls don't have snot, do they?
No, of course not.
You didn't
Oh, yeah.
see. There was a weaver in the background going, check.
That was our last book.
Oh god.
Uh-huh. You're very
Right?
happy. You're happy to fulfill for us. Thank you, Dina.
Yeah, but, just to see it move people, and
It does.
and they, by the end, just everybody feeling so blessed that they've had the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is an event that transforms people's lives. And, really, it transforms people.
Yeah.
And I know I referenced Epiphany Works, and I was thinking more on that subject because we had a break even. We absolutely figured out the break even really early on, but there wasn't pressure because if we didn't make the break even, Jennifer would step in and cover it. So, we didn't have that stressor as much.
The real world stress of money.
Right.
And I felt that in the first couple of years, and then it just gradually, built a grand here and a grand there, and enough to leave $500 on deposit for the next year. But then, so it's back in my face about that year that it was 56 people, because that's what built the bank. And to be able to, and I have more of a comfort level with that than Noelle does. And that's for each of our processes, where we've come from in our lives, and how that relates to money, family lineage, all those sort of things play into that. And I like having a savings account, and which is in better shape, frankly, with CCC than it is in our personal life. and so it's an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
I think another thing that.
Well, I really. Go ahead,
Karen.
I really appreciate, you speaking up. And I think the more we each do that, like from this moment forward, if there is something that needs to be addressed, like, immediately sharing that, because as we've discussed before, we are holding the container that is the template of the co-creative circle, for the time that we're there. So the more fluid and open and we're using our voice of truth and connected we all are, as weavers, energetically absolutely emanates to the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So I it is so important. And I thank you, Bob, for sharing that. That's all.
Thank you. Well, I'm complete.
Dina, I think you were you going to say something?
Oh, one thing that this has kind of stirred up in me is seeing where we each have our own strengths. And, Bob, you're definitely, I think I said this in my email, that you and Noelle and Kathy are like community builders. And I am too. It's one of my strengths, yet I don't have the audience and the opportunity as much. And we have each played our role, and at times my role like almost took me under, like getting everything ready for the magazine. That's why I have no hair. I ripped it all out. Like it was very overwhelming, and I appreciate that you had the strength and just to say it in such a beautiful way. And I didn't feel like, I just thought this is my responsibility. I just need to suck it up and do it. And it got done, yet it probably didn't come from that space that I wish that I could have been able to bring it forward. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Karen, I don't know, like you've been getting all these calls together and calling everyone, and Leanne, I know the logo, we drove you crazy with getting the logo together at the beginning. And David, you did work with, you know, tweaking the letter and getting it ready. Like we've all had, you know, Sheila's probably going to be cursing by this time next week, trying to organize everything. We all have those moments, and to be able to stop and say, hey, like, I'm really struggling here. I bit off more than I can chew, or I just can't handle, I need more. Like for me, the emails, and I know it all needs to be discussed. We need to talk about it. I'm not a person who, I don't check my emails. Like they don't come up on my phone, and I prefer it that way. But maybe in the future, this could be something that we each weaver has their kind of forte, that if they need help, they can get help, yet it kind of falls under the guidance of one person for like the marketing, for I don't know, I'm just jibber jabbing now. I think I said what I wanted to at the beginning, and now I'm just talking, so I'll shut up.
I hear you. Thank you.
I love you. You're great.
Well, I think there's always ways to improve on it, you know, so it's a good luck next year. I'm just kidding.
You know, everybody that's cycling off always says that.
Good luck. That was my underneath piece that, I mean, I didn't need to go into it in the moment, but when I said about like what a big commitment it is, and really like sharing that with people, is like, because I myself have felt for many moments of this walk that I'm not doing enough. Like I had the intention to commit to the third Thursday calls as a weaver. I felt that was something that would be valuable for me to do, to hold space. And I did not accomplish that. And just other areas. So when you shared that, Bob, it was like, gosh, am I pulling my weight here? So that's my own reflection, you know, and luckily it's only my first year as a weaver, right? And we have, you know, there's more to just do and learn, like you said, Leanne. But Dean, I think you're right on. Like, so for me, I like the emails and I have it on my phone because I'm in movement mode right now. But if I were working full time at any of the other jobs I've had in the past, that would have been not doable for me. I would have had to come up with another way, like Leanne, I think you suggested, just like notes in Trello only, you know. So those are just things that as a team, I think a pre-team meeting is really valuable to discuss these things, and, you know, in the beginning of planning for the year.
Appreciate that, and it has been an evolution. I mean, the activity, the gathering has been an evolution, and the way even having weavers, we didn't have quote weavers the first year. I think the name we had was an appropriate name at the time in the gatherings evolution. We called ourselves planning stewards, and but this has become a weaving job. There's no, you know, 19 out of 29 people, holy cow. And so that's evolved, and also our ability to hand off, because you haven't been the first one, Leanne, to say good luck next year. In fact, I've said that to Noelle. And so is that this year we wrote up a task list of chopping it up. And I'll tell you, that has created a lot of space for me, because I was doing it, or I was doing it the years that Noelle was the weaver, and I was doing it in the background, some of those things in the background. So even that is an evolution, to chop up some of these, the duties and that sort of thing. And I think you're bringing up, Dina, a good, better understanding of the 6 that are in any given year, about their communication preferences. You know, there's these people that don't call me unless you text me first, people. And so, but the fact is that we all have our lives and our other parts of our lives, full-time jobs. Dina, Leanne, on the move all the time. Karen, on 15 different boards of directors, Sheila. And so the fact that if we could help each other in how we communicate, also understanding sometimes we really need some help right now, like in the next 48 hours. And that might not be all 5 people that can do that, but maybe 1 or 2 can. And so that how best to communicate, given that it might be 6 different views is helpful too.
Well, and I want to just share that just having this conversation right now, so thank you, Bob, for giving us this opportunity, is I feel a lot closer to each of you. We're typically having conversations about something task-oriented, what has to get done, what do we have to do, and this is just allowing us to, to be this group. So I am just looking at all of you, sending you lots of love, and even though I can't see Karen, I know what she looks like.
Sheila.
Yeah, and Sheila, just I feel closer to everybody because of this. So thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
I love you guys. And with that, I need to go.
Okay.
Oh gosh, it's after 7. Yeah, I need to be heading off as well.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been wonderful. It's just been, for that reason, Leanne, as well as all the task things that we got accomplished as well. It's wonderful. So,
Success.
yeah, all's good with the ranch. Just push and shove here and there, and everything's just fine. I'm excited about going down and looking at the space, figuring out where the truth is going to be, where the confessional is going to be.
Oh goodness, the truth booth. Oh wait, I wanted to say this is gonna revolutionize the confession in the Catholic Church. Like once we do this truth booth, I'm taking it into the Catholic churches.
Wait a minute. I think we should make a super fun little song about it.
So we could do that for sure.
Completely change the whole perception of it. Where are you gonna go? Do the truth booth? I don't know. It's probably not me that should come up with the cute little song.
We can do that, and I think in that also an amazing, just really good, truthful, heartful 2-minute video that we can just throw up on YouTube.
You mean you have one in mind?
No, I want to create one on the truth booth and put it up on YouTube.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, you know what? I'm loving this. I say that the night before, us weavers do it, and just we'll make sure it's fun, because there's, looking at that list of things, there's not a lot of like levity. So we can. I love that, Karen. So we don't have to kind of do it that day. We can have we'll get some fun music, and we'll introduce it, and we'll get everybody laughing, and they won't be thinking church confession. No, by the time they understand what it is, it's just going to be a truth booth.
This is going to heal a lot of people,
I don't know why this popped in my head, and then we really go. The first time I had a colonoscopy, my doctor.
What a way to start the story.
My doctor is a personal friend. Has become a personal friend as a fellow pilot, and this, that, and the other. And did my aviation exams. Made medical exams, and he told me the first time that I was on the table that I could look at the screen and see what he was seeing. And he told me that this is all being piped over to a bar in Oshkosh, and it's actually up on one of those screens over there. So this opportunity to reach out to the world with our truth booth is an exciting opportunity.
All right.
I don't know why that came up. Okay, I'm going to delete that off the recording.
No, you're not.
TMI, Bob.
Peace and blessings, everyone.
Love you.
So
Bye-bye.
same time next week, right?
Same time next week.
Okay.
Love you all.
Love you
Bye.
too.
Bye.